welcome to Kilkenny for mBan 2019. 21 teams have assembled for 5 days and 6 stages of top-class women's international racing. And for the 14th edition of the event, the organisers have planned 2 brand new stages and attracted some of the best emerging talent in European racing.
This year's mBan has attracted top contenders from among the national teams of Ireland and Great Britain, with regional squads from Norway among others.
This is my 4th time racing the Ross, so I should be super experienced by now. It's exciting because this year they've added 2 new stages, or finishing in different places, so it'll be exciting to have a bit of a different route.
So last year I raced with GB, so it's always great riding in the GB jersey. So I came here last year and I got a stage win on stage 2. Oh yeah, I was happy with that. And I can remember it just being mayhem. Coming down the hill and it was soaking wet and there'd be lots of crashes.
And I've been racing with Hightech and doing a lot of international races with the big stars, so yeah, it's been quite some fun. I've been there 2 times before and I really liked the race, that's why we wanted to come back.
Went to European champs, got a few medals and trained all the way until World Track Champs, Junior World Track Champs, and came away with the bronze medal, so I was really happy with that. I've heard that every stage is good and hard and the climbs are good, climb stages are good, and there's some sprint stages and the time trial uphill. Short and sweet but torture, so I'm excited for that.
And yeah, the first time I raced the race was like the 3rd race I'd ever done. It's been exciting every year to see both the race progress and then myself progress as a rider and compare myself against everybody else here. Obviously it would be amazing to win a stage. It's been a while since an Irish rider won a stage here at the Ross, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, just see how it goes on the road. We don't have a specific leader as such, so I think it's like whoever's taking the opportunities and just how it plays out on the road is who will sort of ride for me.
Yeah, I think we like the criterion. We're young and we're not afraid in the corner, so we like to take risks. Thumbs up!
It's a familiar first stage for many of the riders as they face 70 kilometres from Kilkenny to Goran, with 1 classified climb near Graignamanagh. The riders depart Spring Hill Court Hotel with 6 stages and 400 kilometres facing them over the following 5 days in Ireland's ancient East. It's the 4th edition of the race to take place in Kilkenny, and the attacks come thick and fast in the early stages as riders are eager to use fresh legs. Britain's Natalie Grinser and her compatriot Joe Tindley go clear in the first meaningful attack of the week. The duo built a maximum lead of just over a minute, with Team Ireland and Team GB doing much of the chasing in the main bunch behind. When they were eventually brought back, it paved the way for Claire Steels to attack with less than 10 kilometres remaining, and she was soon joined by Josie Knight of Team GB. With the pack clipping at their heels, Knight led Steels into the finishing straight to take her first victory in mBan. Jenny Hall made it a great day for Team GB by leading the bunch home for 3rd place, just 15 seconds behind her delighted teammate.
Claire went up the road and I know she's strong. She's beaten me a couple of times before, so I knew she was a wheel to follow, and no one was really chasing it, and I thought, I'll just go and see what, even if I just get to her and we get caught, but to go all the way to the line, I can't believe it.
Knight opened up a 2-second gap at the finish, with Steels, Hall, Matheson, Bennett and Ellis all in contention. The lead duo have opened a small but significant gap on general classification from the rest of the top 50. Lucy O'Donnell was best of the Irish, while Tindley grabbed the early mountains lead. The all-new 2nd stage took the riders on an 89-kilometre ride to Piltown, County Kilkenny, where the 19-kilometre finishing circuit would be raced twice. Race leader Josie Knight led the field away, heading for Piltown and the 2 ascents of the Category 2 climb of Temple. Claire Steels and Joe Tindley stayed close to the front as 2 crashes early on forced riders into unwanted chases. But it was still a large group together as the field reached Piltown for the first time after 48 kilometres. On the first ascent of Temple, Eleanor Backstead took the top points from Natalie Grinser, and she would accrue enough points to take over the mountain's lead. Over the first climb, a group of 8 forged clear and worked well to establish a lead over 3 chasers, including Queen of the Mountains leader Joe Tindley. The leaders included Josie Knight and Anna Shackley of Team GB, Claire Steels, Molly Patch and Natalie Grinser of Brother UK Fusion Racing Team, Eleanor Backstead from Story Racing, and the Team Ireland duo of Alice Sharp and Maeve Gallagher. With so many favourites up front, the impetus for a chase could not be maintained in the main peloton, which would end the day almost 5 minutes in arrears. In the closing stages, Knight repelled all attacks, including a concerted effort from Claire Steels and a late bid from Grincer. Knight still had enough strength to lead the field into Piltown, where she sprinted to the line for a second successive stage victory. Backstead took second from Team Ireland's Alice Sharp, with her teammate Maeve Gallagher fourth.
So outnumbered by Brother UK Fusion, and I just thought, come on, like, just stay on their wheels, and then to win it, I mean, it's unbelievable. I just wanted not to lose time, so to cross the line first was really good. Absolutely unbelievable. And I grew up in Dingle, County Kerry, so it's my home race, so to win in the leader's jersey at a home race is really special.
So Knight made it 2 wins from 2, while Backstead, Sharp, Gallagher, Grincer and Shackley all had reason to celebrate. Knight opened up a 5-second advantage over Steels, with the rest of the top 8 15 seconds back. Knight also leads young rider on points, while Gallagher took over the best Irish rider. Stage 3 is the second all-new stage at 110 kilometres, the longest of the week, with 2 tough climbs on the way to the finish in the Slieve Bloom Mountains. Connie Hayes of Liv AWOL Spoked raced clear in the early stages, trying to open a gap on the rest ahead of the climb of Wolf Trap Mountain. While the bunch closed down, the British rider and the Jaden Weltite squad close to the front and ever vigilant as the large pack assembled, and indeed it was a Jaden Weltite rider, Sophie Enver, who was next to try her luck. Her time out front was relatively short-lived as Backstead, Gallagher and the rest of the favourites assembled close to the front of the peloton. Ellen McDermott decided to try her luck out front as well. The Nord Holland rider, the Irish Criterium champion, racing clear as the gradient started to grip and the early moments of the Wolf Trap Mountain beckoning. She also, in turn, was drawn back into the fold by the pack, and next move out front came from Molly Patch of the Brother UK Fusion Racing team, and her strength carried her clear of the field by some considerable distance, and she would be first over the top of the first Category 1 ascent of Rosnamon 2019. And Backstead next over the line, adding to her points total, drawing herself clear, albeit by a narrow margin, from Natalie Grincer in their scrap for honours. Molly Patch continued to race down the descent, heading towards the final climb of the day in the cut in County Laois, and she was dragged back into the group, which had swelled in size on the descent, with Backstead close to the front. Rider from the Story Racing squad wearing the Wicklow 200 Mountains jersey, and the points jersey on the shoulders of Claire Steels of Brother UK. The Team GB squad close to the front, as you might expect. They had strength in numbers. Alice Sharp wearing the JustSprint.ie Stages jersey, also staying close to the front. And what about Molly Patch? Having been drawn back, she set the tempo, heading towards the final climb of the day, trying to ensure that Claire Steels was in prime position ahead of the climb. And indeed it was Steels that went to the front as the gradient started to really test the legs, and stayed on the front pretty much through to the end. And indeed it was Maeve Gallagher, as you see in the green, really fighting to try and stay in the wheel of the magenta jersey of overall race leader Josie Knight. A select group at the front. Grincer also trying to make everyone suffer, and they're starting to distance the mountain's leader Eleanor Backstead, as Maeve Gallagher at the back of the group here, just trying to hang on. Shackley just in front. In front of her again, Grincer, and the magenta jersey of the overall race leader stalking Claire Steels as Gallagher starts to struggle within the final couple of kilometres. Her shoulders starting to rock a little bit, just cannot stay on pace with the leading quartet up front. Still Claire Steels on the front, ahead of Knight, Shackley and Grincer, and the climb of the cut in the Slieve Bloom Mountains has lived up to its billing. It really has been testing and demanding. Beautiful surroundings for the riders, but they're suffering as they try to get to the top of this climb, and Claire Steels really has piled on the pressure today. Josie Knight looks over her shoulder, hoping that there's some support coming from behind. Shackley, her teammate, right with her, but who's going to have the strength to survive as they race into the final moments, into the final few hundred metres as they go through the cut that gives this climb its name. And still Steels continues to ride tempo on the front and make everyone suffer. She's hoping she can possibly hang on. Grinzer starts to feel the pinch a little bit. And Knight goes around the outside. There's a little bit of room for her as she goes for a remarkable treble. And Grinzer's starting to suffer, can't stay in the wheel. Neither two can Shackley. Steels too, after all her great work, sees that Josie Knight is starting to put some daylight between her as they go to the line. It's going to be a treble. It's a hat trick for Josie Knight ahead of Claire Steels, Shackley and Natalie Grinzer.
I was so nervous this morning. I woke up at about 5 in the morning and I just was having nightmares of the two Fusion girls just counter-attacking me until I cracked, and I was suffering a lot in the last kilometre. I mean, Claire Steels was just tramming along the front, and I just wanted it so bad because my teammates had done such a massive job for me.
So Knight scores a remarkable treble with Steels vanquished again and Shackley and Grinzer in close attendance. Knight now has a 7-second lead with Shackley, Grinzer, Gallagher and Backstead next up. Grinzer's 4th place is enough for her to take over the mountains lead.
And welcome back to Kilkenny, where the riders are getting ready for the 4th stage time trial in Tullaroan in Rosnamon 2019.
From the longest to the shortest stage, the equally important 6.5 kilometre hilly time trial at Tullaroan, County Kilkenny. After 2 second-place finishes already, Claire Steels of Brother UK Fusion RT finally scored her long-awaited stage victory and in a record-breaking time. The Lincolnshire rider was fastest against the watch in the Honda time trial to overturn a 7-second deficit to Josie Knight and move into the overall race lead for the first time. After 3 wins in succession, Knight was 4th in the time trial, 13 seconds down on Steels, slipping to 2nd place overall. Second in the time trial was Knight's Team GB teammate Anna Shackley, 5 seconds behind Steels, with Molly Patch 3rd to make it 2 Brother UK Fusion RT riders in the top 3. Eleanor Backstead was 5th for Story Racing, with Mountains leader Natalie Grinzer 6th, and Maeve Gallagher, best of the Irish, in 7th to retain the Kilkenny green jersey. Steele's first Rosnamon stage win breaks the Team GB stranglehold and gives her a narrow but useful advantage of 6 seconds ahead of the penultimate stage. Shackley's 3rd place overall gives Team GB a useful tactical option. With Steele's now in magenta, Knight still controls points and young rider competitions. Back at Kilkenny Castle, and while the riders prepared for their 2nd stage of the day, the city centre criterium, Cycling Ireland announced their support for an initiative to inspire increased participation, attendance and media coverage in women's sport.
Well, Rosnamon is so important because, you know, one of our hashtags is can't see, can't be. And, you know, today to bring this down to Kilkenny so young girls and boys can see women, elite athletes participating in the cycle race is really, really important. And the more of that we see, the better. Obviously in person here, but also by showing it on television and so on. We need to expose women and girls who play sport at a high level to new audiences, so young girls who are watching can say, well, I could be that too someday.
It's a pinnacle event in terms of giving our competitive riders a development opportunity, a chance to race against the world's best, and as a result sort of sits in the development pathway quite importantly.
The action moved to Kilkenny city centre for the popular 5th stage criterium circuit race around a fast and technical 2.1 kilometre lap starting at Kilkenny Castle. 1 hour of racing would produce the fastest bunch stage of the week and test sore legs after 4 tough days of racing. Relentless attacking throughout whittled the main group down from the 83 starters after first Josie Knight from Team GB and then Norway's Amalie Lutro of Team Region Sur had taken the mid-race preems. Wearing the blue points jersey, Knight shrugged off her disappointment at losing the overall lead as she set about putting the new leader Steels under pressure. Lutro, Catherine Smith of Team Ireland and race leader Steels were among those alive to the danger. Olivia Bentley of TW1 Racing tried her luck and opened a narrow gap over the peloton. Alice Sharp and Laura Gillespie applied the pressure at the front for Team Ireland, with National Circuit Race champion Ellen McDermott also eager to get in the action. Norwegian junior champion Natalie Mitzvane opened a small gap, but as the riders took the bell, a bunch sprint seemed inevitable. 37 riders were still in the lead group into the final kilometre, with Team Ireland and Team Region Sur Norway jockeying for position at the front. Through the final corner and up the short drag on the parade in front of Kilkenny Castle, Amalie Lutro had the strength to hang on for her first Ross Le Mans stage victory in 3 visits to the race.
Yeah, today matched my expectations, but not the other day, so this was fun to finally get to show what I'm good for. Yeah, it was fast from the start, but that's how I like it, so I enjoyed it.
Lutro's win was a first for Norway in Ross Le Mans, ahead of Eleanor Backstead and Laura Gillespie. Claire Steels was safely in the lead group to preserve her 6-second lead going into the final day. Gallagher was the best placed Irish rider, with Natalie Grinzer fighting to keep the mountains lead. So just under 90 kilometres remaining in Ross Le Mans as the riders loop down to Thomastown and Inistioge, including the short sharp climb of Woodstock, and then back to Kilkenny Castle for the final time. The attacks coming thick and fast, and early on it was Lexi Brown on the final stage from Nord Holland, the British rider, joined by her compatriot Connie Hayes of the Liv AWOL Spoked under-23 squad behind Claire Steels, ever vigilant at the front of the peloton. Connie Hayes pressing on and having dropped Lexi Brown, happy and content to race solo towards the climb out of Inistioge and up the grippy ascent of Woodstock. The gradient gripped, Hayes almost back in the fold. Claire Steels, the overall race leader, who draws clear of the rest and really puts the cat among the pigeons. That's a surprise to see the race leader on the attack. And Eleanor Backstead manages to get back into the wheels, desperate for those mountains points. She's 1 position ahead of Natalie Grinzer, the mountains leader, heading across the final counting climb of the week, and it won't be enough to take that jersey from Grinzer, who will be declared the Wicklow 200 Queen of the Mountains for Ross Le Mans 2019. And there is a group of 12 clear of the field as they plunge down the descent into Thomastown. Natalie Mitzvane among them, Jenny Hall there, and Anna Shackley sitting 3rd overall, deep in conflab with her compatriot and teammate on the front of the peloton. Safely nestling in the wheels, well, all the leading contenders, Maeve Gallagher, the best Irish rider in green, Grinzer in mountains orange, and the magenta jersey of Claire Steels after her effort on the climb, recovering and getting the food in. Joe Tindley next to attack. Powerhouse effort, draws Maura Claffey, great week for the UCD rider. Narrow advantage over the peloton, and no one really seeming too eager to allow any rider to get any significant advantage. Joe Tindley, top 10 finishes and great attacking effort throughout Ross Le Mans, and so too from Natalie Mitzvane, who's involved in so much of the action, particularly over the final couple of days. The Norwegian junior champion sneaking a little look over her shoulder, but the effort of the week and indeed that attack is telling. Next attack comes from Josie Knight, the points leader, 2nd overall, desperate to get that 6 seconds back that she lost, the 6 second, the margin between herself and Claire Steels, as Lydia Boylan goes on the attack. World Championship silver medalist on the track earlier on this year, the Torelli Madison Assure rider, not getting clear of the peloton for any length of time. Isabel Ellis of Story Racing still has the fight left for one big, serious effort. But again, so many riders looking for the opportunity to draw clear of the peloton. Now Joe Tinley goes, and it's with Josie Knight. Josie Knight once again putting the rest under pressure. Alice Sharp, the Irish champion, surfing the wheels of the riders, sitting second overall. But that's Molly Patch just going to close things up again for brother UK Fusion RT on behalf of her teammate in Magenta, Claire Steels. Steels riding in the wheels just behind Anna Shackley. Still a large group in contention into the final kilometre as Josie Knight goes for glory. A final effort to try and take those 6 seconds back, and it's Eleanor Backstead of Story Racing that's going to close this one down, and Josie Knight will be denied. Claire Steele safely in the main peloton, and others closing it down. Knight perseveres, looks around, gets that sinking feeling. Not what she'd hoped, not enough of a margin. As Backstead into the final kilometre ahead of Isabel Ellis. Knight sitting in third wheel. And all of these sprinters' teams massing towards the front, including Celia Matheson in the pink of Team Region, TV Boo. Into the final corner, it's Ione Johnson of Team On Form that controls on the inside. Celia Matheson goes up the inside of the New Zealand rider and charges up the parade towards glory. Will she be able to hang on? Indeed she will. It's Celia Matheson that takes the final stage.
The last kilometers it was so dramatic and chaotic. But I had a dream team all day, so it was so cool that they also took second and third place.
High-Tech Pro Celia Matheson leads the Norwegian 1-2-3 and makes it 2 wins for Norway in succession. Claire Steels is safely in the main group to take her first international stage race success, holding off GB duo Knight and Shackley. Knight takes points in Young Rider, with Grinster winning Mountains and Gallagher the best Irish rider.
Stay calm, trust your team, they know what they're doing, and just stay in touch with the other riders. 6 seconds was probably going to be a big ask in the last kilometre, so I just had to stay focused, not panic, and just make sure I stayed upright really. It was a fantastic team performance all week. Every single member of the team worked their backside off, and that showed in a great team performance, but also great individual performances as well. It's just been a fantastic week for all of us. It's definitely the biggest performance of my career so far. I'm excited for next year.
So Claire Steels takes overall victory in Rossanamon 2019 after a superb week of racing here in Kilkenny. Thank you for watching and goodbye.